Hey everybody, it's me, Jeff Acosta. Hey, how you guys all doing? Well, here's that special video I was telling you about. What I mentioned in my previous one about Dr. Seuss and the Marcus Ashley Art Gallery in Lake Tahoe. But hey, before I go on, don't forget to subscribe. And if you know anybody who has Asperger syndrome, autism, or any kind of special condition and they need some type of inspiration from someone, even if they're not 100% perfect, like I always keep saying, because I'm not always perfect, but I try to be. Please tell them about my YouTube channel, my professional Facebook page, and my Instagram with the same name, Meat Rider Jeff Acosta. Anyways, as I mentioned in the previous video, one of my brothers and I, when we were down there seeing the Tahoe night monsters, we had an opportunity to, as we were walking through town, also get to the Marcus Ashley Art Gallery, which is, to me at least, it feels in a way famous in the area because it has a special exhibit devoted to the art of Dr. Seuss. It basically is like sculptures, paintings of some from his children's books. From his own world, like stuff that would never have gotten into his books, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. And then also when he did a special taxidermy business in the 40s. Anyways, before I go into detail on some of those things, particularly maybe one of his drawings and also something about his taxidermy characters, let me show you the art gallery and also and Dr. Seuss himself, and just and a lot of the amazing artwork again. Boy, I'm saying art a bit. But hey, like I always keep saying, whenever I make these videos, I'm just a little tired. It's just because, after being busy throughout the day. But anyways, it's just great I get to make these videos. But anyways, let's talk about the Marcus Ashley Art Gallery. Check this out. So the main reason I brought up those two pictures is because, those pieces of art is because one of them it looked like it was a recreation of an illustration from one of his earliest Dr. Seuss books intended for adults called The Seven Lady Godivas, which didn't do so well. But that was because Dr. Seuss was testing Bennett Cerf, the head of Random House at the time, who actually who told Dr. Seuss that he'll publish anything. So he decided to take that chance. And even though that book failed, the next book that would come around would be Horton Hatches the Egg, and it would bring one of his most famous characters, Horton the Elephant. So there was that, and then also I think a lot of people, like writers and everybody else, they have a bit of a sexual sense of humor. So with that one particular painting, but oh well, you know what? It doesn't change my perspective on Dr. Seuss. And also, I was aware of his humor because of a documentary I saw in 2003, it was actually made in 2003, just before his 100th birthday, but I saw it on YouTube for the first time in 2008, and you can actually find it. It's called Dr. Seuss Rhymes and Reasons, and it actually mentions about his sophomoric side and how he had a bit of a sexual sense of humor with some of his paintings, and these things that would never have made it into his books. but it was still very just fascinating just to learn so much about Dr. Seuss, even if there was some things about him that were a bit off, and maybe even some of the unhappiness he had in his life. But that's okay. I mean, like I always keep saying, nobody's perfect, and I say I'm not perfect either, but I do my best to be happy and positive, and that's exactly what Dr. Seuss did with his work. And let me just quickly say, his full name, in case you didn't or never knew about it, was Theodore Seuss Geisel, or Ted Geisel as he went by. In fact, his middle name, Seuss, which actually was pronounced Seuss in American, was actually his mother's maiden name. So he had a bit of his own name in his pseudonym anyway. And one of the reasons, and you can actually learn this about in the documentary, but even though the story changes all the time, one of the reasons that that Ted added doctor to a pseudonym was because it would I think the word is compensate for the doctorate he never received at Oxford. But he always changed that story all the time. But I have a feeling that could be one of the reasons. But you know what? The way I see it, I'm kind of glad that he went with Dr. Seuss as his name. I'll probably talk about more about Dr. Seuss in a later video because, you know, he is one of my favorite writers. But it's just fascinating, like all that he did with his illustrations, his books, and even being an artist before he even became a children's writer is just fascinating. I'll definitely mention that someday in a video. But then another thing I want to mention is all his taxidermy animals you saw right there. So the story goes that he used horns and beaks and antlers from deceased animals at the Springfield Zoo that his father ran, and his father sent those pieces to him, and he turned them into like cartoonish, like, you know, taxidermists, basically animals that he would see in his world. So I mean, I think that was pretty interesting that he did that. Of course, now those are all replicas, and there are no real like horns and anything on those creatures. But what I do would like to share is, like, you know, the names of a lot of the animals that he came up with for his taxidermy creatures, and like some of the names of like some of the animals that we see in his world. And of course, we're all aware that he made up names for all the animals in his world. So check these out. A lot of interesting names for those animals. I would have to say one of my favorites would be the Guguai Tasmanian wolfgast. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. The blue-green abelard, because that was one of the creatures that was featured in the documentary. And I would have to also say the Carminic walrus. I just like how the eyes kind of like follow you, and they really do. If you're at that art gallery, the eyes really do of that animal really do follow you. So anyways, everybody, that was the Dr. Seuss artwork at the Marcus Ashley Art Gallery in Lake Tahoe. Go check it out if you're ever in Lake Tahoe, especially if you grew up reading Dr. Seuss like I did. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. I'm planning to release this video just after Thanksgiving. Well, I was about to say before. Oh, once again, I'm ready to eat my dinner again. Oh well, at least I get to make these videos. So my plan is so I can share a little bit of Thanksgiving and just the wonderful holidays I always have with my family. That way I can try to bring some positivity to any of you, especially if you do struggle with having positivity. Anyways, anybody, thank you again for watching this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you know anybody who has Asperger syndrome, autism, or any kind of special condition, please tell them about my professional Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Instagram of the same name, me, writer Jeff Acosta. All right, everybody, happy holidays, and we'll see you in a December video soon. See ya! All right, there you go. All right. Oh, she got me. She got me in the rear.